Hello and welcome to this special techniques instructional video on how to use the beat repeat alongside your Q-Link knobs to yield some really great and interesting effects. This is a brilliant way to generate really weird loops and beats and rhythms and all other kinds of interesting content that you can sample straight back into the sampler, because it also allows you to work outside of the XYFX dedicated interface or window. This is just an inserted effect which is currently on a sound effects program. If we look in the channel mixer here, we can look at the inserts box, and it's just in the first inserts box, of which we've got 4 in total per program. Let's go back to the XYFX interface. Now we can apply this effect in real time to create glitchy effects, because the effect I'm using is the beat repeat low pass filter. So here I'm going to press and hold the shift button and press the Q-Link project mode button to enter the editor. I've got the master tuning for this program mapped. I've also got the enable for the XYFX. I've got the X axis and the Y axis of the XYFX mapped. I've also got the wet and dry level for the XYFX. Over here is the program, so it's an SFX. If I double tap on that, I can select a different program. So let's just keep it at that. Just below there, you can see it's set to program and not pad. You can choose pad parameters. So I'm going to choose a program parameter. You can see it's cleared now because I changed it. So I need to assign it again to the Y axis, which is the filter of the XYFX. And of course, you've got all these additional blank Q-links that you can assign to other programs and other parameters. So I'm just utilizing the middle 5. So this is the parameter it's showing, Y axis, that's X axis. So you can see it switches between program, so this is for the master semi-tune. If I tap on there, then it changes to insert. So that will just update depending on what parameter you've chosen, just to let you know. If I engage the enable with a Q-Link knob rather than touch the screen, that's great because it also latches it for me. So we have to also, in the interface, engage latch, touch the screen, and then our sound will continuously loop or repeat. Using the Q-links and mapping just the enable parameter actually does both. It engages it and latches it. So let's talk about sampling. If we wanted to leave the XYFX screen, we don't have to use it because obviously we've got all our parameters here, which we can apply it to our sounds, whether they're sounds being triggered from the sequencer or sounds being triggered live from the pads. We can set all this up if we're just wanting to deal with one particular program, and then we can obviously have 16 parameters if we've got this in program mode for the Q-links. So depending on what track you're on and what program is on that track, your Q-link parameters will only be for that program on that particular track. So the furthest most left Q-Link knob, second up or the second row up, is the master tuning for this drum program, which has got a load of sound effects and percussion and drum sounds on it. The second knob in the second row up, the second one in from the left, the one that I'm just touching there, that is the enable parameter of the XY effect. So that doesn't come available in the actual XY screen. This is basically emulating what happens when you press on the screen to engage the XY effect. The next knob that I'm touching there is the X parameter. I've gone back to the enable one there to capture another loop. But the one next to that is the X parameter. So this is interesting because this is the beat repeat portion of the beat repeat effect that I've got on the particular instance of the XY effects for this program. And the interesting thing about this is when you use the interface on the XY effects, that introduces, no matter how hard I've tried, it always introduces a slight little bit of resonance or sort of brightness to the sound because it's engaging the filter at the same time. There's no way to separate them. But my furthest most right knob in that row of knobs, second up in my Q links, the one that I've not touched for a while, that is the filter. So that is the filter cutoff for the XY effect. So using them this way has the additional benefit of separating the two effects, which is really nice and handy to have. So as you can see, I've used the master tuning to pitch these sounds up to try and capture something else a bit more interesting. I've just used the note repeats to make those glitchy, stuttery effects. So it will capture those as well, which I'll show you a bit later on again in this video. So there you can see now I've engaged the metronome, or I've engaged the sequencer. So I've got some timing reference now, and it also shows you that the XY effects is intrinsically linked to the sequencer and the clock of the MPC. Here I'm fading in and out the dry and wet balance to add these glitchy, stuttery effects with a really high time division for the note repeats. So the loop's running with the XY effects, and I'm also now incorporating the note repeat function over the top. So I'm just trying another loop. So this is quite nice, it's got a kind of a 3/4 time division. Just engaging the filter there. So now I'm trying to record. I've forgotten that I shouldn't really switch my input to resample instead of inputs 1 and 2. Now I've gone into the looper, and this is just to show you that you can capture a loop in time. It's a bit quiet, and that's because I captured it into inputs 1 and 2. I should have resampled it. So again, just trying out some different ideas. You can also capture any other parameter that you modify whilst you engage the XY effects, as I did with the pitch there. So it's captured that pitch, or the transposition modification that I made. Now this proved to be really nice. This gave a really nice, interesting mechanical feel to this sort of weird breakbeat that I've created here. Hence the little ravey hand movements that I just did. As you can see, my hand movements are kind of crazy in the way I'm rolling my knuckles to kind of get all the pads included. So there's definitely kind of a physical technique to getting the kind of results you want. And that's basically it. It's just thrashing out ideas on the fly using the XY effects to capture these random organic loops. It's a really great little creative tool, particularly because you can now obviously go into the sampler or the looper and capture all these nice little performances that you do.